Fran, sir, I have a difficult question for you, possibly.
Okay.
In honor of the holiday that we're recording on, I need to know your best black TV dad of all time.
Best black TV dad. It will be between Oscar Proud and
animated.
Yes. Oh. And Philip Banks, but I'm gonna go with Mr. Philip Banks.
Uncle Phil.
Yes.
Uncle Phil's a solid answer for many reasons. For one, he's taking responsibility he didn't need to take.
Yes.
Which is why one of my ties is to say, he has his own kids, but he's bringing in another kid, like, his nephew.
Yeah.
Great lessons, hard worker,
yes,
great job,
exactly.
Provides for his family. And that is why one of mine is a tie. One of mine, Bernie Mac.
Okay.
Bernie Mac on the Bernie Mac show has no kids. Yeah. All his sisters, they're my sister kids.
Yeah.
They're my sister kids, all his sister's kids. And even though he is constantly annoyed, he does right by those kids.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's why I just love that about that dynamic. But then the number one for me is Michael Kyle, my wife and kids.
Okay. Yes.
He is the new he who shall not be mentioned. Obviously there is an answer to this that I think universally a lot of people may have had at a point. We don't really mention that person anymore.
Yeah.
But
you talking about the term America's dad?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say
yeah. You know. So yeah. So that guy.
Yeah.
For me, Michael Kyle and my wife and kids in general kind of is like the new That Show. It's like That Show 2.0. Damon Wayans is hilarious in that show, but he's also a fantastic dad.
Yeah.
And then I gotta go honorable mention for most like realistic, like when you think of like a stereotypical dad for like real, like us, not a mansion, not millions of dollars, unlimited resources, all this stuff. I gotta give a shout out to Julius Rock from Everybody Hates Chris. Okay. He just is like, that's like a dad, middle class, lower middle class. Every day, sometimes you gotta stretch the pennies, you gotta make it work, whatever. Like, but he comes home and he gets the big piece of chicken, and you don't sit in his seat, and all those rules that of like black family, fatherhood, whatever. Like that's his chair. That's he eats first. He works 2 shifts, whatever. That is like the quintessential dad for me. That's realistic because Uncle Phil is like everybody wants to live in a mansion.
Okay,
but
I thought for honorable mention, I thought you was gonna go. I think he was going to go James Evans. That's what I thought you was going to go.
Oh, no. That guy's, like, abusive. Like, I mean, listen, that's too low down. Like, they have too much real life stuff going on. Like, James, the rent. We don't have the rent money. Like,
struggling, man.
No, but, like, Everybody Hates Chris made it fun. Like, they were struggling, too, but, like, they weren't, like, he's not taking it out on the kids.
Yeah.
James Evans was like, that guy, he died from, like, a stroke. Like, he was so mad that he died. So, just a sad show. Good Times, like, I know it's like a classic and people grew up on it, but just a lot of just sadness in that show.
There's a lot of realness in that show. That's what you mean.
Yeah, he would never be my honorable mention. I would never want my father to be James Evans ever in my life. So, but he was there. So, yeah. So, shout out to Uncle Phil. Shout out to Michael Kyle. And shout out to all the real dads out there in the world as well.
Yeah, obvious, we got a problem here. And it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got 2 friends who you won't forget. Coming live, Alvin and Fran on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off. AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Bougie ain't an option, it's the wage. Take it to the grave, have moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and welcome to a very special Father's Day episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I'm Alvin Williams, joined as always by Podcast Poppy himself, the father of 2, but the son of none. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we got Mr. Fran and Alvin in the building.
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gonna post to it.
What up?
Fran, let me first off start by saying, big ups to you. This is your day. In a world where, dads don't get a lot of flowers a lot of the time. Yeah. So they get lumped in with a lot of guys that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. we're sitting here live in the flesh with one that does.
Yeah, man.
So I want to give kudos to you and props to you.
I appreciate the love. You know, I'm honored to have such a nice, welcoming introduction to this episode. But yeah, man, I don't look at it as being a father where it's like, you know, like a job type of thing. Where it's like, that's just how I was raised, and that's just what I know, and I just know it's what you're supposed to do when you have children. So like, I saw a video I posted on my Instagram where it's like Stephen A. Smith. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. That's my guy.
For sure.
But he brought up a
terrible hairline, great guy.
Yeah, he brought up a point where it's like there's a difference between a father and a daddy. Like a father is just a person who has kids.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy is the guy that takes care his children and doing what he's supposed to do. So, you know, a lot of people can't say that.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is, and I'm just fortunate to have such two beautiful kids, and just it's you'll get there. Whenever you have kids, you'll understand the feeling, but it's kind of hard to kind of explain that feeling.
For sure. Well, you know, I'm gonna push and ask you a little bit. Not really just the feeling, but like, you know, on Father's Day, the sentiments you just, you know, kind of expressed. What does being a daddy, father, because you're all of them, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that look like? How do you perform that task? What does it mean? How does it get you out of bed every day? Like, how does it drive you? Like, what is it to you?
It's just, I think it pushes you to another level where it's like, I have to, whatever I was doing before I have kids, it's you kind of up that times 10. It's like you're the provider. Not even when you just have kids, when you have a family, it's like you the one. Like there's no time to be slacking and to be laying around and be like, because kids got to eat, they need things, school, especially as they start getting older, where it's like shoes are getting dirty every week. They need new shoes. They growing. They never stop growing, so you need constantly new clothes. It's like, but it also, I think it makes you better as a person, because you go like, you're not only working hard for them, but you're working hard for yourself as well. So it's like you're able to maybe whatever goals you have, maybe be able to accomplish goals, because you're going like, I want this for myself, but also by wanting it for myself, it also helps your family grow and just you become a better person, and then helps them. So I think just being a father is just like pushing you to new levels and challenging, especially with it like the first, you know, in the beginning, it's very challenging. But it's just something, you know, as you get older, you get stronger, you get wiser as a dad. You know, my daughter's 7, so it's like I learned a lot in those 7 years. But being a dad is just, it's never ending. It never stops. Like I hear my dad say it, and you hear other people say it as their kids get 20, 30. You never stop being a parent. So it's like, it's always a thing. But yeah, man, that's when I hear being a father and being a dad, that's kind of, you know, what comes to mind.
Yeah, I would say one of the best sentiments I heard about that, when you talk about like it's always a job, it's always something to do. You gotta, you know, is one of the best sentiments I heard was you asked them to come here. You know, like they didn't have any say in any of that type of stuff. So if they go to the fridge and they want fruit cups and apple dapples, then the fruit cups and apple dapples better be in the fridge, man. They didn't they didn't ask to be here. You wanted them here, so you can't be like, man, you something else. You need another pair of shoes? Like, yeah, man, my feet are cold. The other ones are dirty. Whatever the reason is, I need them. And you asked me. Yeah. You invited me here. Yeah. Like, you invited me here. Like,
go figure it out and get what I need, because I can't work. I mean, like. Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to hear nothing about, back to school season again. Yeah, man. And I need a new wardrobe of clothes. Yeah. You wanted me here. Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's no worse feeling of, you know, being able to not support your kids or whatever, being not able to get what they want.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, of course.
I'm sure that's a terrible feeling. That's a feeling. Of course. That's a fear I have, and I never, ever, you know, some people are, and that's just how, you know.
It's the reality for a lot of people.
Exactly, but it's like, one of my fears is not being able to do that. I never want to be put in that situation.
For sure.
To be like, I can't do certain things for my kids.
And that's a real, and just to be clear, that's not what I was speaking towards. I just want to clear that up for anybody. For sure. I'm speaking towards the people who make their kids aware that if I didn't have you, this would be less of a struggle for me. Like, man, dang, man. I mean, they always got you. Always. How about you eat less? Or like, how about you you're always eating something, like putting it on them that like you're doing something wrong by existing because you're putting a strain on me. And I don't think that's fair to kids.
Yeah. Speaking on that, I've heard this thing that kind of irritates me a lot where people go, I heard people say, it's okay, like for you to go, whenever you have kids, you go, I'm glad I waited to have kids. But some people will say that when they already have kids, where they go like, I wish I would have waited to have kids. I get why people will say that, but it's like, when you say, I wish I would have waited to have kids, that child you have right now
wouldn't be that kid.
And that's like, some people kind of look at that was like, if I wish I would have waited later, the child I have now is still going to be that child.
It would be a child here.
It just wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be this child.
Exactly. And you can't.
No.
You can't say stuff like that because it's like, it doesn't work that way.
No,
you can't put it on pause and kind of like hold it. Like I want this child,
and it still be Max. It still be Sophia. It wouldn't be Max. It wouldn't be Sophia.
Yep.
And you can't tell them how to take a comment like that,
right?
Because you might be saying it as like a lesson or like to give advice to somebody. But if your child here is like, I wish that I wouldn't have had them when I had them, then if they take that as I wish that it wasn't you, because I didn't like the situation I was in. Those early years were hard, hard that I wish that I didn't do them.
Yeah,
you can't tell them how to receive that kind of information.
Yeah,
So I think everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. Everything happens for a reason, and so you can't be regretful or wish that you had a do-over, because it would be a different. That's why I love that movie Butterfly Effect. Shout out to it's a bad movie from like a cinematic standpoint, but the premise of Butterfly Effect is like Ashton Kutcher has these journals, and then one day he figures out he can go in the journals and like erase it, and then change how the story played out in the journal.
Okay,
and then he'll have like a seizure and like a flashback or whatever, and then he can go back in time and change something.
Who was in this again?
It was Ashton Kutcher. I think it was Tara Reid. Okay. I don't remember everybody, but Ashton Kutcher from that '70s show.
Yeah. How long?
But
how long ago?
This was like 2003,
all right.
4, something like that. It was a while ago.
Right.
But the point is, so let's say, this is literally an example from the movie, but like his friend got molested, a girlfriend of his, like when they were all kids.
Okay.
So he can write in the journal the memory, and then while he's writing out the memory, that it helps him remember it, and then it takes him back to the memory, and then. He's back in the memory, but he has the mind of Ashton Kutcher, the adult, and he goes, I'm going to threaten the dad who's molesting his daughter and tell him, don't ever fucking touch her again, or I'm calling the police. And then he wakes up back in the future, but now everything's different.
A change.
Because your friend not getting molested, maybe the dad molested somebody else, and then that person, you step on a leaf now, and you change a whole bunch of stuff in 100 years, So it's like, but that's what I mean about when you say stuff like that about your kids. Right. I wish that I'd have changed this. I wish that their dad was a different person. I wish I'd have had my kids with a different mom. Like any of that stuff, and it's not the same kid.
Right, exactly.
And so you can't, the damage that you might do to your kid from them hearing something like that. You got to think about that. So, on a day like this, I like to shout out, people like yourself and all, I got, friends that are doing their thing real big. I'm not going to do at this point it's kind of cheesy and played out, but it's still the same sentiment. All the moms out there that's doing it by themselves, shout out to y'all. But I want to give credit to fathers who do their thing.
Yeah,
I don't think there should be a day.
There's dads out here that moms are not involved, and we don't hear that same
on Mother's Day.
We don't hear that.
Yeah,
I get
that's less of a thing, but it is a thing.
Yes, but I get it. Yeah, but come on, let us. No,
this is a day to celebrate fathers who are doing their thing,
exactly,
and not to like throw subtle shots at dudes who aren't.
Yeah.
So it's a day of bigging up the dads.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, shout out to Uncle Phil, shout out to Michael Kyle, shout out to all the TV dads that, help shape our image of a great dad, and shout out to all the dads that help shape our image of a great dad, So this is what a day like this is about. And so, I want to make sure you have your flowers and give you your flowers. After we finish recording, I am firing up the grill at my place. I'm not having anybody over, but if you want to come through, get you a kielbasa, sausage link, or something like that, you are welcome to come through.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any type of real presents for you.
Yeah.
You didn't have me. My dad. So I got a plate for you if you would like a plate. But before we take a quick break, I got a couple of shout outs. We don't have to do the music because the list is a little short. It's very short actually. It's personal. This is a shout out to one Cat's Eye. They messaged me and told me specifically how to say their name, so I wouldn't get it wrong. So I'm pretty sure I did that correctly. Shout out to Cat's Eye. It's like a cat's eye. And shout out to Shauna S. Shout out to both you guys. Thank you so much for the support.
Thank you.
Looking forward to getting some new content to you guys on the Patreon. Ideas keep coming by the day, keep coming by the minute. Just got to get executing and get them edited and everything like that and get them to you guys. So be on the lookout for some new content this summer. Very excited about some stuff Fran's working on. Very excited about some ideas I have for some stuff for both me and him to work on and get that stuff to you. Thank you guys for the support in the meantime. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by HelloFresh. Flavor is in full bloom at HelloFresh. Enjoy the taste of spring with chef-crafted recipes featuring ripe, seasonal ingredients delivered right to your door. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to you, so you can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. HelloFresh cares about quality. That's why their seasonal ingredients are picked at peak ripeness and travel from the farm to your home in less than 7 days, so you know they're fresh. And I have to say, I've been doing a lot of home renovations lately, on top of work and the podcast. So there's nothing better than coming home after a long day, getting some projects done, and just knowing that you have fresh vegetables, quality produce, and instructions to whip up a meal, easy enough for a 6-year-old to read. HelloFresh is forever coming in clutch in this house. And if you go to HelloFresh.com/AMP16 right now and use the promo code AMP16, you will get 16 free meals plus free shipping. Again, that's HelloFresh.com/AMP16. Use the promo code AMP16 for 16 free meals plus shipping. That is also free. Make your summer dinners a breeze with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by ZocDoc. You're extremely unlikely to find quality medical advice in your group chat or any random TikTok rabbit hole you happen to stumble down. But you can find it from a doctor on ZocDoc. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. That's right, folks, you heard me. No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor you haven't met yet. Just go to ZocDoc.com/AMP and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/AMP. Put that all together, that's ZocDoc.com/AMP. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Drizzly. Getting ready to celebrate Juneteenth? If so, discover some amazing black-owned brands to enjoy all weekend long. From premium small batch whiskey to sparkling wine and everything in between. Drizzly has a selection of the absolute best black-owned beer, wines, and spirits in the business. And you can get them delivered to your front door or wherever you're celebrating with Drizzly, the go-to app for alcohol delivery. Can't be with your favorites to raise a glass on June 19th? Well, you can still gift family and friends their favorites to enjoy from wherever they happen to be. All you have to do is download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com, that's Drizzly, DRIZLY.com, and choose the drinks you think they'll love the most. Cheers to a happy Juneteenth. Who just rang the doorbell? It's Drizzly here to turn up the party. Must be 21 and up and not available in all locations. Once again, that's Drizzly, the go-to app for alcohol delivery. All right, and we are back. Fran, I'm excited to shed light on this story that is very recent. It's come across my timeline a couple of times, and it finally felt like it was time for us to dive into it and see what the hell's going on. Although there is a person who has been arrested for it, there's not been a conviction from what I've seen. The trial is kind of still taking place. So we needed a little bit more time to see it unfold and get more information. And I think we have enough information to shed light on the story and come back to you guys when we get the resolution of what a conviction looks like. So I'm very excited to, shed some light on this case. And that is the story of Susana Morales. Fran, if you want to touch on just a bit of your thoughts while you were doing your research, had you come across this story before or anything like that?
I've seen the photos of Susana, but I've never dove into the story, because every time I think the last time I seen this photo, it just reminded me of the Vanessa Guillen case. So I was like, every time I saw that, that's what I always went to Vanessa's case, because I didn't know this. I didn't know this story. So whenever I saw her picture, for some reason I just thought of her, and I knew it was two different people. But for some reason, I always just thought of her until we decided to do the story, and I dove into it. And I went like, oh, okay, this is the story why I keep seeing this picture. I've seen it multiple times. I just never dove into the story.
Well, we're gonna do that today. So on July 26, 2022, 16-year-old Susana Morales was going to visit a friend in her neighborhood at around 6 p.m. And after she was all finished hanging out at her friend's house, she texted her mom at around 9:40 that night to let her know that she was on her way back home from her friend's house, which was in Windscape Village. This is all in Georgia, in Gwinnett County, Georgia.
Yeah, I see this a lot of times where it's like kids are out, young kids, especially at 16 and younger, where it's like
you lived it, you see it, lived it.
Yeah. But I'm talking about females in particular. Like,
got
it's
it.
just like they're out. Like now, when I'm just working, I just see them out, and I'm like, I
walking
just
around.
don't.
Yeah.
It bothers me where it's like, I don't know if these kids have trackers or anything on them. They have that technology now, but it's just like, just seeing them by themselves.
Well, find your friend. They find your friends on every iPhone.
Yeah, some of these kids may not have phones. I don't know. So it's like, but it's just like, do your parents know you're out here I'm sure they do, but it's just, I don't know. It's just a level of trust I just don't have yet, I guess.
It's a different time. It's not even about the kid.
Yeah.
It's just you don't trust. It's like not trusting the time.
Exactly.
I feel like that's important. Like, because you could have the best kid in the world by your standards.
Right.
But it's not. It's the same reason everybody. Maybe if you live in fucking somewhere in Wisconsin, middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, but if you live in a major city, nobody leaves their doors unlocked. It's just things that are from just a different time.
Yeah, for sure.
Go out, send your kids outside, come home when the streetlights come on.
Yeah.
That's not. None of these things are like things anymore. The world's not safe.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how parents feel now. Like what they how they used to feel when we were kids, was like they just sent us out, and then they trust that we will come back in one piece. Didn't really have to. We were boys, and that's a little different, but
that's true.
Kind of not have to worry about that.
But we were boys hanging out with girls. There were girls there.
That's true. But and then coming home was like, my kids are fine. I trust the times. Then that they were out safe. It's just now. It's just I don't know. I guess maybe being with another friend probably make me feel more comfortable. But
for sure.
By themselves.
But in this situation, Susana was just walking down the street at 9:40 at night from a friend's house by herself.
Yeah.
So like, to speak to what you're talking about, even like our generation now growing up, young parents, we have friends that have kids that are 10.
Yeah.
You might have a kid kind of young, and you have a kid that's 10, 11, something like that. Sophia's 7.
Yeah.
So like as a kid who grew up in a time, maybe like the twilight of, come home when you better be home when the street lights come on, but go out and live your life, take your bike and go ride it 7 miles away from home.
Right.
As a kid who grew up under those rules, who grew up and then lived and saw the world as an adult, how do you feel like you'll be as a parent of a 14-year-old boy or girl? But like the things that you did at that age, do you see it being a whole different regimen?
Yeah, man. A friend of mine, Nick, we used to take our bike and we just used to just fucking just go. Miles away from the house. But I think now with Sophia being a girl and the time, and it's just creeps all over the place. It's just, if you need there were times when we was like, my parents like, don't call me.
No. Oh my God. My mom?
Don't call me to come pick you up from wherever the mall.
You got there.
Yeah.
Get back.
Now it's like, no.
She left us stranded one time, but we had to walk back from the mall. It's because we were 3 boys, I guess, but I don't know if she would have did that to 3 girls. Just left us stranded at the mall, at the movies at 10 o'clock. I'm tired. I don't feel like getting out of bed. What? It's a different time for you to even get that phone call and not be like, I'm not leaving my kid out there.
Yeah.
And listen, it was a different time. It wasn't even thought. It was no fear. It was laziness. It wasn't like she left us in where I was like, Mommy, I'm scared. We're at the movie. It was like, Ma, can you come? We don't feel like walking back to the bus stop run. It's like, you got out there. Yep. So, if you don't feel like it, that's not my problem. So I just want to clear that it wasn't any kind of fear.
Yeah.
But like, that'll never be something you would do in this day and age, right?
Just call me out. will I have an attitude? Will I let you hear it tomorrow, the next day, or later? Yeah, but in the moment, I'm like, I'll come get you. Just stay wherever you are, and I'll come get you. But I'm not letting my child walk 9 p.m. and whatever time at night by themselves. It's no way.
Yeah.
No.
I think we came from the last era of like, I can either take you there or I can pick you up.
Yep.
But I'm not doing both.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's just like, you can't operate like that anymore. Of these, like, again, it goes back to that thing. Like, they didn't ask you to come here, man. Like, you made a kid, you want them to have a little you. They need a ride, man. And they need a ride both ways. Yeah. And that can be annoying. I know you just got the pajamas on. Y'all about to watch the new HBO Max show. The new Last of Us just dropped, but your kid needs to be picked up from somewhere.
Yeah, man.
And in these days, even if the bus was still running, I don't want my kid on a bus at 9 o'clock at night.
No.
I don't want my 13, 14-year-old kid on a bus at 9 o'clock at night.
No.
So it's like, even if there is an option, just call me.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just, and that's no disrespect to Susanna's parents,
No.
but we're going to get back into the story. We're more talking about the times. Again, it's just the times that it is, you know?
And some things you really can't, if your child, especially if she's done it more than once, there's a comfort level there where he's like, I trust you, again, the times where it's like, okay, let me know when you get there or whatever. It's like, you can do 100 times, nothing ever happens. Then that one time is just like, you can't control. You only control what you can control. You can't control that.
Yeah. And also, it's also important to note that, like, she was 10 minutes from her house. This would be like the walks that you walk in when we were kids. When I lived in the same area as you did, but a little further out, it would be like you walk into my house, which your dad would, if you go, I'm walking over to by the 7-Eleven, like, your dad will go, oh yeah, that's a walk. Like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's what she was doing. This wasn't a train, a bus, a cab. This is something, she walks this way from school. Like, this was a routine walk.
Right.
So this wasn't some kind of dangerous thing that even like her parents needed to pick her up. But it just speaks to that, like, the isolation of a kid the vulnerability of a kid being caught by themselves out in the world. Yeah. Even in a route that they're comfortable with and have walked 100 times. Yep. It only takes that one time, like you said. Yep. So by 10 p.m., Susanna had still not returned home from her friend's house, and her family started to grow concerned. And by around 10:30 p.m., her family checked the location app on her phone, which she did have activated, and it showed that she was walking down nearby Singleton Road. So they knew it appeared by her phone's location that she was on the route back to her house.
Yeah.
So they're still concerned because it's late, but they checked in and they go, okay, well, we'll give it some more time. But they did also call the Gwinnett County Police a little bit later and try to say, hey, can you help us? Can you go try to track down our daughter? And they told them that they needed to contact them after 48 hours, which is this crazy rule. Crazy, if you, it's this real, I guess you have to treat everything with broad strokes, right? But if me or you have kids, Sophia, something happens at school and the teachers call you and say, hey, Sophia did this. And you go, oh, well, somebody must have instigated her because she does not do that. Mm-hmm. And they go, okay, well, the rules are the rules. So she's suspended. It's like, I know my kid. These people know Susanna Morales, and they go, listen, whatever you're saying about the 48 hours, she could be a runaway, whatever, this, that, and the third. She's not. And I feel like you should take it on a case-by-case basis to just have this broad strokes like, hey, man, we need to allow for 48 hours because they might just like stayed late at a friend's house. They might have just ran away for a little bit and give them some time to come back home. It's like, no. This is hour 3. My kid is not that kid. And every hour that you're telling me I have to wait, they are in a higher risk of not coming home safe.
48 hours is a goddamn long time.
2 days? That's insane.
A long time, man.
At hour 3, you're like, my kid's missing.
Yeah, you're panicking.
So you need to be that for another 45 hours.
Man.
That's a crazy ask, man.
It needs to be shortened, or like they need to like send a person, like
send one car out.
Like,
I'm not saying bring the dogs
exactly,
and the
man.
a whole bring us out. Bring a guy out and have him go canvass the neighborhood.
Something. Help
us. I'm not saying shut the highway down, but to go, oh, we're not doing anything for 48 hours.
Crazy, man. That's crazy.
It's insane. So Susanna never returns home that night, and at 9 a.m. the next morning, Susanna's family reports her missing to the police. Over the next several weeks of searching for their daughter, the Morales family claims are repeatedly dismissed and minimalized by the authorities as just another runaway case. And they continue to fight back that narrative to say, no, she would not run away. She was on her way home.
Now, is this just like, is that like just a standard response that they always say where it's like?
I think it's so common that's like, they have to rule that out. Like there's so many cases of kids being missing and then it just turns out they ran away from home a year all across the country that I think that the standard practice in some states, I don't think it's every state, but in maybe a lot of states, is, well, there needs to be some time to pass because they could just come home on their own.
But just
and then we wait. But my whole thing is like, and then what?
But you
guys what? Wasted money? Like, what is the reason? Why are you saying like we wasted manpower on trying to find a child and we don't want to do that?
You could just send somebody out. Why not speed that process up of coming to the conclusion that it's a runaway, then wasting time,
and then it's not.
Or it's a runaway, or it's not. It doesn't matter whatever the outcome is. It doesn't matter.
Find the kid. The kid's missing. Even if they ran away, let's find the missing kid.
Exactly.
Like, even if they are a runaway, like let's try to find them and get them home.
I could never understand that. It never made any sense to me.
Yeah, the idea that's a good point you bring up. Like where the idea that it being a runaway makes it a less serious situation, where it's like, give it some time. They might have just ran away from home with who? Like they might have just ran away from home with an adult boyfriend. That's dangerous too.
Yes. I'm a parent. My child is not here. It's missing. Doesn't matter if it's a runaway or not.
Yes. So yeah, that's a good point to make as well. So despite arguing that Morales would never do such a thing like run away and not call her family and let them know that she's okay, and that saying that she was on her way home when they checked the Find My Friends app, they checked the app and they could see where her phone was and that it was close to the house. Mm-hmm. Detectives in Gwinnett County, Georgia, were unable to track down any valuable leads, and Susanna Morales, her case remained open and cold throughout the remainder of 2022. On February 6, 2023, a driver pulled over on the side of the highway in an area near the border between Gwinnett and Barrow County. The driver ended up walking into the woods and stumbled upon a naked human remains.
That's crazy.
They just happened to bad service.
That spot.
Whatever.
That spot.
Just happened to walk in the woods and stumbled upon a human body. After officers and CSI respond to the scene and begin canvassing the area, they find a gun nearby, a gun that is registered to 22-year-old Georgia officer Miles Bryant. So Miles Bryant reported his gun stolen to his department at 11 a.m. on July 27th, 2022, the morning after Susanna Morales never returned home. It was revealed that Miles Bryant also lived in Windscape Village, the complex that Susanna was walking home from that night that she disappeared, and that he acted as a security guard for that same apartment complex.
By him being a cop and kind of being that security, whatever officer around there, because he lives in the area, I feel like that by him living there, his unit overlooks the Morales family's home.
Yep.
So as a police, they said they didn't believe that, him and Morales, Susanna
had a prior relationship of any kind.
Now, I don't think they had a prior relationship like per se where they like knew each other, but like she knew of him. He
probably saw her walking around the neighborhood. He's seen her before and maybe honked the horn or waved.
She knows who he is because they live in the same area. Because he's maybe everybody knows that he's like the guy that kind of the security guy. So I think there was some type of level of trust for her to, if he tried to pick her up to get in her vehicle.
For sure.
There was some trust there. I don't, it wasn't,
for sure.
It wasn't just like, he, you know what I mean?
I was going to we can get into it now, but one of the theories is that, he might have used his security, trust and everything to offer to give her a ride home. It's late. Yeah. Hey, it's late. Let me give you a ride. I don't think he snatched her up.
No.
I don't think he snatched her up off the street, which is sad. He used his uniform to lower somebody's, guard and took advantage of that. I believe. Let me say, I believe because we don't have his motive. We don't know exactly how it went down, but that just makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the apartment security. He rides around, the area securing things. He's seen this girl go to her friend's house before. He's seen her. His apartment overlooks their home. He's seen this girl walking around before, and I feel like he might have went up to her and went, "Hey, it's late. You're walking home. Let me just give you a ride home." Yeah. And she probably thought nothing of it because he's on duty.
Yeah.
If he's been a cop in that or a cop / security guard in that neighborhood in that area before and has built a rapport with people even on a base level of like a wave, a honk. Is everything okay over here? You
Yeah.
guys safe? Whatever. Then he could, in theory, if it went this way, it wouldn't matter if he had his uniform on or not.
Sure,
She's seen his face before, and that might have even, he might not have been on. We don't know this for a fact. Like, I don't know if he was on duty that night,
Right.
but he could have been in his own personal car in his own personal clothes, but she knew his face
Exactly. Yeah.
as the security guy.
Yeah.
So when you have that level of trust built, you don't have to use the uniform. The uniform is for people who don't know you. If you're being that person, if you're being a person who, if you're being a East Area rapist type of person, where you go, I'm gonna wear a security guard, a security uniform, safety, door safety, home security systems. That's my to let you feel safe when I come knock on your door.
Yeah. And that's
But if you've already built that rapport by driving around,
yeah.
you don't need to wear the uniform. They already know. They've seen you in the uniform already.
Yeah, and that's for anybody. Anybody can. If I'm out by myself and I'm like, I'm walking and somebody I know I've seen this person before.
Sure.
I know he's a cop. Asked me for a ride. I go like, yeah, man,
He's a cop.
It's late. Yeah,
Yeah.
take a ride. They can
For
still
sure.
crack me upside my head, but
your guard's down.
My guard is down, and I felt comfortable trusting
Yeah.
this guy by getting in because I know he's a cop.
And the sad part is you should be able to do that. That's my whole thing. Is like, again, I want to make it clear that Susanna Morales didn't fall for any kind of trap or anything like that. Like if this is the way that it went, of course, it's speculation, like we said. But like if she thought that the security guard police officer around the neighborhood was giving her a ride home so she would be safe, that's a perfectly reasonable conclusion to come to for the security guard police officer.
Yep.
So this is really sad that, but obviously we got to flesh it out some more. So there's still more information to be given. So as we just like alluded to and talked about for a little bit, it is believed by a lot of people that he possibly lured Susanna into his car under the guise of giving her a ride home as a security precaution. And Brian's badge protected him in one other time before his gun was discovered at the scene of a missing child who was discovered dead, which happened in December of 2022, when a former friend of his filed a complaint against the police department saying that he had been showing up to her house uninvited repeatedly for nearly a year, also known as stalking.
Yeah.
A woman came forward and said, this guy's been stalking me for over a year. That report was never followed up on. This happened in December 2022.
This dude, man, it's like
this is protecting the shield. This is that blue wall of silence.
Yep.
This is a guy who goes, hey man, I like this girl and I can do what I want to do. I'm a police officer. I'll just show up to your house.
Yeah, and
what's she gonna do about it?
Yeah, and I think we talked about this before. When it comes to me judging people, looking at this dude and hearing what this sick dude has done, to me, he's just this lame ass dude who's a cop and got this badge and a uniform and on it. He think he can do whatever he wants, and it's like, I don't know. Maybe he didn't get girls before this, and then got a badge and was just like, got super confident and just like, I'll just show up if I want. I'm the police. Who else are you gonna call?
What are they gonna tell me? No.
Yeah, right.
I'm the law.
Yeah. Yep.
No, but I'm serious. Like, I mean, like that's. I'm not saying all, but I've run into many a police. I know, not personally, but I know police, or the Facebook know, where I go in high school. You were a lame, like you weren't a tough guy by any means, and now I see, you see the glow up of 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and they have skull tattoos now, and they're talking tough and sunglasses on, and they became a police officer, and it makes you walk a little bit different. Yeah. It's like the same thing we talk about, how you walk differently. You would walk differently if you had a gun on you and somebody came in and approached you. Yep. Now you have a gun and you have technically kind of within reason, I don't know how much that reason is, but within reason, you have the full right to murder somebody with impunity. Yep. Like, you not only do you have a gun on you, but you have this like law book that says, well, if I felt fear for my life or whatever, like I could clap you right now and kill you and like maybe go back to work on Monday. Yep. Maybe I get a paid vacation. So I feel like the whole point is you should be the training for a police officer. That's why it should be 1,000 times more strenuous, because you need to be weeding those people out, because who isn't gravitated towards that type of position of authority? You don't want the people who are like the weasels and were treated badly in school and girls didn't like them or whatever. You don't want to give that person power.
Right.
It's the same reason I believe, like in the Catholic Church, a problem that persists is you tell these people, you give a person who's a pedophile a cloak of, well, I can't marry a woman or a man or whatever. I can't marry. I can't whatever. I get to be around children unaccompanied because I'm the word of God.
Yeah.
How do those, and probably a whole host of other things, but how does having that kind of criteria not make the possibility of a pedophile wanting to be a priest higher?
Yeah.
So if you need to make the training process, the psychological evaluation process, like you need to be going. I mean, we live in a time now, you can go back 10, 15 years on somebody's Facebook. You can find red flags of like, oh, this person went to prom by themselves. They have like dangerous Facebook statuses from when they were 17, 18, 19 years old. Because this dude's 22.
Yeah.
So he's not that far removed from high school. So if he was a sad, dangerous, whatever person, volatile person in high school, you can't go, well, he was a kid. Like, no, 17 and 22 is not that far apart.
Right.
So, we need to be evaluating these people and making sure we're weeding out any kind of people who could go on a power trip.
Yeah, and I think that with just anything, just different things, life in general, I think there's always a percentage of a bad, like they call them bad apples in anything.
Yeah.
Like if it's cops, like, okay, we expect
Any
cops
job
to be good cops.
Yes.
It's going to be some ones in there where it's like these people just wanted authority and this is how they got it. So it was like they chose to become a cop. It was never about I want to
protecting and serving.
It was never about that. It was like, oh, this is how I can get power legally over people and take advantage of people. And it's like, oh, I'll just do that.
And it's almost like I don't blame a bad person for being a bad person.
Yeah.
If you go, man, when I become a cop, it's going to be, can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for wanting to have that kind of authority when you've seen what that, what levels of authority people have in those situations sometimes. But my whole thing is when you also pair that with, oh, me as your partner, if I see you being that person, I'm not going to say shit because, right on, brother.
Yeah.
Now you create an instance where how are you ever going to get rid of bad apples? If the bad apples are like, oh, man, he's a bad apple, but like this girl just came into the police station and went, hey, man, that apple's bad. And you go, all right, well, go ahead and put that under the bottom of the file. We won't even look into that. Like, yeah, this apple's been coming around, taking pieces of his rotten skin and putting them in my food. And I'm tasting bad apples everywhere I go. For a whole year, this guy has been coming and putting his bad apple juice all over my house.
Yeah.
And then they go, all right, well, I mean, we'll go ahead and say something to him on the side, like, hey, man, you can't let her see you when you go to the house. Yeah. But we're not going to, like, file a report. And now a real serious incident that took place is covered up and not followed through with, and now he escalates.
Yep.
Like, he went from stalking to kidnapping.
Yeah. To
the next thing. Everything, if it's not checked, is an escalation, potentially. And he had something happen, was not checked about it, and he escalated.
Yeah, I mean,
not 3 months later.
Right, but can you blame him though? It's like, when I say, if I'm stealing gum and not getting caught, I'm like, well, I'm trying to go for a bag of chips next time. I mean, I'm getting away.
You're stealing gum, and on the way out, a person who's supposed to stop you is like, hey, man, what's up? How's your mom doing? You're like, good, man. And they see the gum in your hand. They're like, all right, man, cool. Can I get a piece of gum? You're like, shit, yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, a piece of gum. All right, man, I'll see you at the bar tonight. You're like, cool. You're like, shit. You start to feel invincible, bro.
You take it a step up.
They're backing up you. I'm like, oh, I can get away with this. Who knows what else I can get away with?
Right, exactly.
So, on February 13, 2023, Gwinnett County police officer Miles Bryant was arrested for concealing a death and falsely reporting a gun as stolen. And on February 22nd of 2023, Miles Bryant was charged with felony murder and kidnapping. So, friend, this is a terrible tragedy at face value alone. But what makes this even more terrifying is that Susana Morales died at the hands of a person who pledged to serve the community and protect the community. Mm-hmm. And her disappearance was dismissed as a runaway case by officers who made that very same pledge.
Yeah.
So this whole system turned their back on this girl.
Yep. And I had a couple some facts here that said, according to the Mapping Police Violence, at least 1,176 people were killed by law enforcement officers in the U.S. in 2022, the most of any year since at least 2013. And meanwhile, a study at Bowling Green State University, shout out to Bowling Green State. I think we have a listener who works there.
Shout out to them.
Found that police officers were charged with rape 405 times between 2005 and 2013, and a number researchers expect is much, much higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, like,
we already know people, a lot of times people don't come forward when they are raped or sexually assaulted. Yeah. Now imagine that happening to you by somebody with a badge. You probably don't think you'll get any justice. So why even come forward at all?
Yep.
So even those numbers are definitely, probably, you can't say definitely, but those numbers are probably skewed low.
Yeah.
Because who knows how many people were groped. We don't even have to go full, rape.
Yeah.
Groped, touched inappropriately during an arrest. Any type of you're putting handcuffs on somebody, you're patting them down. Any type of thing where you go, oh, I think I just got assaulted.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no question. It's the difference between you go to the airport and they pat between your legs, and then the difference between that and somebody groping you inappropriately.
Right.
So how many people experience something like that, didn't say anything, or worse, go and try to go through the whole process of filing a report and a complaint, whatever against that officer, and they're dismissed, sent through the rigmarole, and they're just like, this is taking up days of my this is taking up days of my time. Like, forget it. And they're like, yeah, forget it. Forget you. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Trying to bring down one of our brothers.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're up against.
And in a 2022 NBC review for department rosters in New York City, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia, which is like major cities, the news outlets found that many officers who are accused of sexual abuse and harassment aren't fired or even demoted. In fact, some of them end up being promoted.
Yeah. And not to say that they're being promoted for assaulting people, but just like you're not being admonished or penalized for your bad actions. Yeah. So all they're seeing is they're only rewarding you for the good stuff that you do. So yeah, of course you're going to move up the ranks because nothing's just being put against you on your record. Yeah. So yeah. So Thomas Bryant used his knowledge of jurisdictional lines, investigation tactics, and who knows what else that he knows to get away with a murder for over 6 months. Only to be foiled, as we said in the beginning, by a random stop on the side of the road. I mean, if this person didn't randomly stop at this random spot on the side of the road, who knows when Susanna Morales would have been found, or if
could have got away with this easily.
Yes, so that part is scary as well. He didn't just drop it at the border between two counties for no reason. I think he dropped it there out of the chance that whoever found it, whatever department will go, well, this either happened 50 miles this way, which is a different county, or 50 miles that way, which makes it, kind of clouds it up. Like, where's this body from? But not enough time had passed for them to not be able to make an identification. Also, his dumbass threw his gun,
left it there,
right around the area.
Yeah,
his police issue firearm, not a gun with the serial number scratched off. This wasn't like, they had to find a fingerprint. Like, this is the gun that the department gave him, which is, again, it speaks to the arrogance of using that gun to commit the crime, leaving that gun at the scene, and then just going the next morning after you commit this horrible crime and going, somebody stole my damn gun. I need another one.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
and got another one immediately. Probably
it was because the confidence in him is like, this is 20 miles out from where she lives, where we both live. Nobody's gonna nobody in the
she's gone
on the side of the highway. Nobody's gonna find her.
I did it.
Yep.
Let me go get a new gun. Let me just go ahead and tell him something. I don't know, somebody stole it out of my car. You know how these neighborhoods are, boss. I need a new gun. Some animal stole a gun out of my car. Let me get a new gun. And for the next 6 months, he went to work, lived his life like nothing happened.
Like, how was
when he killed it?
How was
16 years old?
Yeah, how was that like? It should be more of a process where it's like, if a police
what do you mean?
gun is stolen, why isn't like that means somebody has a police firearm, and it's like this should be more of an uproar. Like, it's just like, oh well, just fill out these paperwork and then we'll just
exactly. Like, somebody stole it. I hate when that happens. Like, you don't have where was your car parked? Right. Do you have footage? Like, should we go look around the area for like security camera footage of somebody? We need to find this person. What if they commit a crime? What if they kill somebody with your police issue gun? That comes back on us as a department. It's just like, nah, I lost it. Let me get a new one. You should be fired if you lose a gun. You lose a gun,
leave or something. Like, that's crazy.
You need to be suspended or something. It's like, I don't know, I lost it. A gun?
People can put on leave for being late, and like this guy leases a gun, a firearm.
They're like, I hate when those squirrely guns go missing, man. That's cool, man. It's fine. We're gonna charge you $50. Now, like, you lose like the equipment for the cable. I lost my cable box. They're like, all right, we're gonna charge you a restock fee. Yeah. But it's cool, man. We're gonna charge you a restock fee for the gun. A little $100 come out of your next paycheck, but we'll get you another one in the mail.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so it's fucking So he lost his gun. He left his. He didn't lose anything. He threw his gun in the woods with a dead body of a 16-year-old girl, and it didn't take weeks, days. As soon as that guy, whoever that person is that wandered out into the woods, as soon as CSI showed up that day, they found his gun not far from that girl's body. Lazy, and the laziness comes from, I'm a cop. Like, I don't need to do much to get away with this anyway. I might even be doing too much. I might have drove too far out. I don't even know if I need to drive this far out, but let me be extra safe. I did just kill somebody. So let me be extra safe. And then this gun, I did use it to kill her, possibly. I don't really know if that's a fact. I haven't been able to track down her cause of death, but he threw the gun out there for a reason. And he went, well, I can't use this gun anymore. Boop. He didn't take the gun apart, go throw it in the Chattahoochee River. Like, he threw it around the body. Yeah. That's how much he was confident that he would get away with this. And he did for 6 months. And who knows how long it would have been if somebody didn't just happen to pull over to the side of the road.
Yeah.
He could have got away with this forever. We don't know. So, Georgia activists have accused Gwinnett County police of failing to prevent a teen kidnapping and murder at the hands of their own. Families like Susanna's come to America for peace and safety, and sadly often find themselves exploited and victimized by the people with the upper hand in an unbalanced power dynamic. So when you're talking, whether you're talking about, so her parents were undocumented, apparently. When you talk about people who are undocumented crossing the border to get here, they're exploited by those mules who are like, I need $10,000. You can't say yeah. You can't say no. Yeah. You want to come here? That's how much you're charging. It might not cost me that much. This isn't a $10,000 job, but it is because you're on hard times. Yeah. Then you get here, you try to get set up. You go to try to find a job. They're like, I'll pay you $3. They're like, but the minimum wage is $10. I'm gonna pay you $3, or I can call INS. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you can either take the $3 or you can get the fuck out of my face. They are faced with that every day. They have to go live in a low income neighborhood because they don't make a lot of money. Police show up, call them all kind of names because they're like, you guys live in this terrible neighborhood. It's like, I mean, that's all I can afford to live in. Like, I'm just, I called because I need some help. Well, you're the problem. Yeah. So at every which way, when you're faced with the person who has an upper hand of authority in this dynamic, they are spitting on you, looking down on you. And in this situation, they kidnapped somebody's family's child and killed them. Yeah.
And just that sentence where the family of Susanna, when they talk about coming to America to find peace and safety, and they were exploited, it reminds me of hearing stories when we do these old, early 90s, early 1900 stories where it's like black people served in the United States military and still come home and getting treated and spitted on and all kinds of stuff, getting disrespected for the lack of care, from the people who were supposed to protect and obey the law.
It's like you do. I don't appreciate you doing the job. Yeah. I know the job got done. The job might have even got done better at your hands. If you weren't there, maybe we would have lost World War I or whatever. Yeah. But I don't care because I don't like you. Yeah,
and I think that's it's saddening and upsetting, but we've seen it multiple times. And again, a line that I've said before when we've done stories kind of, in the past, where it's like, for black people, colored people, who do you trust? Like, yeah. Who do you trust? It's like,
if the police do this, who do you call? Yeah,
like colored people and, marginalized communities, disenfranchised people,
queer people,
everything in this country who are vastly unrepresented, and it's like, who do we go to for help, for protection, and stuff like that? Who do we go to?
How can I be secure in my home? What do I have to do to be secure in my home? And while we're on this subject, I want to give a shout out to all the undocumented workers down there in Florida who are packing up and getting the fuck up out of there. Governor Ron DeSantis passed a law that says, if you are an undocumented worker, you have to present something. Like you have, they're basically cracking down and raiding these work sites and everything like that. There's some law that was passed. I don't know the details of what they are requiring, but there's been a mass exodus in Florida.
Well, how are these jobs getting done?
They're not. That's literally right. What's happening right now. Like, there are work sites that are empty. Yeah. There are farmers like these. I'm not saying rich because farmers are hard work, but I'm just saying like the white owner of the farm is coming out and being like, I don't even know how we're gonna survive the next 6 months. There's nobody. The fruit is rotting on the field. It's like, yeah, man. Like it's almost like, bro. People have been saying this for years. Yeah. When people go, well, you want to kick these Hispanic workers out? Who's gonna do the jobs? Exactly. And did they just think that was a lie? Did they think that these suburban kids were gonna come out and pick fruit for $5? No. So there's nobody to do these jobs, and there's houses not being built. That's going to affect the economy in a major way. Because if I tell you, look, there's a lot of people. I already paid for my house to be built. My house is supposed to be finished by September of this year. Yeah. and you get a phone call like, hey, nobody's building the houses.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I need my 260 back.
I need
I need my 580 back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I have a loan that I'm paying for while living at my mom's house because my house is being built. Yep. So if everybody's can I renege on my loan? Oh well, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm pleading no contest on this. I'm not paying a mortgage on a house that's not being built.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, so the house will be. I know the house is supposed to be done in September. It's gonna be done in May of next year. It's like, oh well, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
So now all the banks are like, oh, we already counted that money out. Like so
it's gonna be ripple effect, for sure.
Major ripple effect. So I just think that, you need to appreciate people that work hard and do great jobs. And like, undocumented workers are a net benefit to this country. And, how about making the pathway to them not being undocumented a little bit easier? And then you can stop demonizing them as the undocumented. Like even putting a tag on people. Like they're people.
Yeah. And underpaid. Getting paid.
Way underpaid and working hard as fuck,
in
man.
the sun. Oh. No.
You walk past the job site, you hear that Guadalajara going hard and fucking... It's 99 degrees, so it's 100. It's 120 on the roof.
And I commend them.
Shingles flying, scrap.
They work hard, bro.
Getting to work, bro. They got that news from Ron DeSantis. They were like, well, fuck
all
this.
Right, well, shit. Bye.
You build the house. And now it's nobody to build the house at all.
Empty,
man. So
lumber and shit everywhere.
It looks like the apocalypse in a lot of places in Florida right now. It's like a bunch of like the frameworks of a house and nobody on the sites and a bunch of material sitting around getting wet from the rain, going to waste. Like, hey man, hey, y'all. Sometimes you make your bed, you gotta lie in it.
That's what y'all wanted to fight for.
You didn't want them here. They're not here now. Y'all don't want black people here. What happens when there's no more little babies? When the slaps aren't being made, it's different when you wake up one day and it's really Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And when you got what you wanted.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you're like, well, TikTok is dry now. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's dancing on TikTok anymore. Like, it's like, that's why. When the shit really comes true, then what you gonna do?
Yeah. Y'all make up some new dances then. See how they
you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you get what you want and it's not what you wanted. But anyway, just to close things out, Susanna's sister, Jasmine Morales, stated at a March for Justice that no amount of money, no amount of justice can bring her back to us. But what we can do is try to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else again. And that's why we are here. Yeah. So her sister, their family has started all kind of like charitable organizations and nonprofits in her name to bring justice and awareness to this this terrible epidemic of police mistreatment of undocumented workers and Hispanic people. Also, I read a study that said something to the effect that Hispanic women, when they go missing, are lumped in with white women. So they're being vastly underreported in missing persons cases because they lump them in with that demographic, that minority.
Okay.
So like they aren't a lot of times they don't stand out as their own demographic. So their numbers aren't being represented properly, that they are going missing at a higher rate too.
Yeah. Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah. So, so it's something to think about. It's concerning, but obviously rest in peace to Susanna Morales. Yeah, prayers to her family. It's absolute tragedy. I don't know Miles Bryant's sentence. I believe the trial is still happening. I don't know for a fact, but like I wasn't able to find an update. And also I want to give a shout out to a listener who messaged me on Facebook because, again, this is another call to action. Sometimes, we don't have access to all the databases and all that type of stuff all the time. So if we aren't able to find it through a Google search or, a little bit deeper than that, we don't know. But somebody reached out to me about Gerardo Thomas when we did the story last week about the two trans women that were killed. And Gerardo Thomas was sentenced. He was sentenced back in 2020.
Okay.
After his trial was delayed, she sent me the listener, Sarah. So I'm not going to say her last name, but Sarah sent me his case file, basically, or his case research. And he was sentenced after a short delay. He was sentenced to second-degree murder in 2020.
Good.
So the case that we were talking about, it was second-degree murder. Again, we talked about he shot her with a shotgun, and when she walked up to his car. Yeah. So I don't really know how he got off with second-degree murder, but that was the whole thing we talked about last week. So in some kind of way, that wasn't seen as a senseless, calculated murder to rent a car, drive to D.C., and so on and so forth, and then kill a person. So he ended up with second-degree murder charges, and he was convicted, or he pled out. He pled out the second-degree murder charges. So actually, I take back everything I said. That was on the table for him to plead out, and he pled out the second-degree murder. So, but again, if anybody has any updates on Miles Bryant, and as far as this case is pertaining to this case and Susana Morales' case, if he has been convicted and we just weren't able to find it, please let us know, and we'll follow up next week and give people
an update.
Go to
the Discord. I think there's a section in there.
Or go in the Discord.
Yeah.
I'm figuring it out. The Discord is fun.
Yeah.
I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like an old man, but I'm getting more and more comfortable with it as time goes on. Sure. I really do like the Discord.
I think it's a section in there for cases or whatever. If you can throw in there update or something, you can just throw it in that section so we can, like I said, kind of keep it organized up in there. Yeah,
for sure. Fran, before we get out of here, what are you thankful for?
Oh man, I'm thankful for being able to celebrate another Father's Day. After we get off of here, I'm gonna go and chillax. But going to the some of Steph's family's house, they always do like a Father's Day type of get together.
Okay, so, celebrate. Do they put y'all on the stage or something like that? Do y'all all sit on the stage and get praised?
No, not on the stage, but they'll put like all of us at like a table.
Okay, I like it.
They just we being served, so it's like we just
I like
relax.
it.
We just relax.
No, you deserve that, man.
So,
no, you deserve that for sure.
I'm thankful for that though.
Myself on a day like this, I'm thankful for my small circle of friends. The couple of friends you included that I do have that have kids. I am proud of my friends that have kids. They take care of their kids. They're good dads. They're in their kids' lives, and I think that sometimes you got to be thankful for your friends. Yeah. You should be thankful for your friends all the time, but you should be thankful when you have friends that exude admirable qualities. Yeah. And so I'm thankful for my friends that exude admirable qualities, because I got some people that I know that are dirtbags, but like my people that I consider my friends, anybody that I consider a friend is somebody of admirable qualities and good morals and values and stand-up people. And so I'm thankful for those kind of people, because seeing that motivates me to be a better version of myself. Yeah. So on a day like this, when I'm giving your salutes and your shout outs, I'm thankful for you being a person that does what they need to do in their kid's life and just in general, man. You do the damn thing. Yeah, man. So shout out to you. Man. But with that being said, I've been Alvin Williams, joined once again by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin. We'll see you guys next week.
Check out the Discord. Don't forget Affirmative Murder Pod. Deuces.